Hello, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoy this live stream, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with all of my videos and future live streams. So, today I'm going to be talking about upcoming earnings, the S&P 500, how these things are how earnings impacts the stock market as a whole, and just touch a little bit on the Mag 7 companies that have had earnings over the last couple of weeks. Um, so let's get started. Okay, so the S&P 500 has hit all-time highs for a few times recently, and um, earnings, of course, is gonna impact that. Tesla had their earnings just, this past week, as well as Google, 2 of those Mag 7 stocks, and Tesla's was disappointing, while Google's crushed their expectations, but they're dealing with some things that we're gonna touch on, including their, antitrust lawsuit that is going on currently. And this upcoming week, we have 4 more of those Mag 7 companies, coming up right around the corner. Now, when it comes to investing, of course, it's nice to see your portfolio thriving, not having any huge pullbacks, which I'm gonna share an example of that. But, you know, you have to be ready for it, and I'm always sharing this because I don't want anyone to be shaken out of good positions because of something that is gonna be short term, whether it's related to the tariffs, related to, poor earnings issues that a company could be having that are going to be turning around soon enough. So, we have to be ready for that when it comes to investing. So first, the S&P 500, it's hit all-time highs many times recently. A huge turnaround from where we were at the beginning of April. Seems like since about April 22nd, things have started to turn around and really thrive and build back up again. Uh, and with that, just like we were jokingly saying at the end of last year and even into January, if you're invested into the S&P 500, VTI, the total US stock market, QQQ, things like that, as well as those individual companies directly, you should be the richest that you've ever been because of the way the stock market has been moving. Investors are keeping their eyes on earnings, but also still wary about the upgoing trade updates that are going to be coming out. But as 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 it's been for a while now, like the tech stocks are driving the market, and um, we have to be aware of that and work to diversify our portfolios to get it to a place that makes us comfortable. Because with some volatility will be a lot of movement in your portfolio. But, depending on what type of investor you are, you can be patient and be able to wait out the rough times. But we will see what this upcoming week is going to hold for us. So, of course, strong earnings will continue to fuel what has been going on with the Mag 7, well, some of them will, I'll say, with the S&P 500 thriving. Um, so let me take a look at the chat. Hello, thank you for everyone that's tuning in and chatting so far. Make sure to drop me any questions that you have. I will make sure to go back through the chat and try to answer some questions today. Thank you, CKJ, for leaving that comment. David, East Boogie. So let's talk about Tesla. Now, they had disappointing earnings, which was expected. They missed earnings. They've been having to share that they're having delays and margin pressure. So, a few things going on with Tesla is price cuts. They're lowering the prices of some of their vehicles in order to stay competitive, but reduced prices is going to be reduced revenue per car. Rising costs related to spending on AI and supply chain challenges and falling sales, especially in Europe and China, deliveries, just a lot of struggles that they are facing. So, at least we've seen in the news that some of the drama that's been going on with Elon being distracted seems to have ended, and they say that he's back in the office, even sleeping there, and just focusing on the company. And he has been saying that he thinks that one day Tesla will have um, a valuation of 20 trillion potentially. So, despite this miss, Tesla remains a key portion of the S&P 500. And like I said, short-term volatility, this especially is one that has made me even when I talk to my teenage daughter about it, this is one that she easily understands why I kind of limited her portfolio only has 5% Tesla in it. And she understands that it's something that you have to be ready for the volatility when it comes to Tesla. They've many times we've seen them announce dates and things, even with the different things related to the robo taxi with their robots, the events that they have. It always seems that these dates never seem to line up, and they have their struggles that they have to get through. But I think it is a promising company that I'm going to continue holding long term. Now, after the earnings came out a few days ago, they did actually drop out of that $1 trillion range there for a little bit, but I was looking again today to see where it's falling on the largest companies as far as market cap, and Tesla is coming in at number 9, and it is back over $1 trillion valuation. I'm seeing 1.019 trillion. So, um, I'm currently up 46.7% when it comes to my investment. And I'm not sure exactly how long ago, but not too long ago, both my portfolio and my daughter's, we were both up over 100%. I didn't bail on Tesla when I was up that high. I didn't take profits. I'm still just holding, and the day if the when the day comes that I do sell my Tesla, it will be when I'm up there in that range, and I believe, long term that they can turn around things. So, let me take a quick second to let me see. StreamYard made some updates and has things
Thank you so much. We do greatly appreciate it.
a little bit hard for me to find, but I found it. Thank you, Vincent, for tuning in and giving the first super chat of the day. I appreciate that. And also, thank you for being a channel member. I'm going to put out a note to all of my channel members of all tiers that have been a channel member for, well, no, let me not say all tiers. Oh, yes, I am saying it correctly. Channel members on any tier that have been a channel member for over 6 months, as well as channel members that are on my second and third level tier. I'm going to extend an invite to all of you if you would like to have a live stream or one-on-one chat at any point over the next month or so. We can get that scheduled if you are interested in doing that. Okay, so yes, Tesla, Stressla, as sometimes we jokingly call it. So for investors, Tesla is making some very ambitious valuations. Well, not Tesla. Elon is making these very, you know, lofty goals and just trying to make these headlines that where he believes that the company is going to go. And we will see what happens with that. Oh, thank you, Ms. Frugal, for gifting a membership. I'll have to try to peek on YouTube to see because it doesn't show in StreamYard. I'll have to take a look in a second to see who got that gifted membership. So another earnings that just passed over the last week was Google, and they beat expectations, but they are dealing with an antitrust ruling. So they've been driven by, well, Google is YouTube for one, if you didn't know, but they've been being able to drive by their cloud growth and um, advertising. But this antitrust lawsuit is related to the US regulations have ruled against Google's advertising practices, forcing changes that could impact the future revenue streams when it comes to Google. So they're likely to get fines, and there is questions as to how they're going to be able to navigate the regulations and make the structural changes and just continue to thrive when it comes to Google's ad business. So investors are watching it closely. The ruling could set a precedent for others when it comes to, the decisions that they're going to be making. Oh, investing with Rod. I didn't even have to go look. I see that you were in the chat and you are the person that got the gifted membership. Congrats. Um, but, even with that, with everything that's going on related to that, those strong earnings still show the potential of Google. And just recently, their price targets have been raised from about 203 up to 225. And I have all of the Mag 7 in my portfolio, as well as investments that give me exposure to the total US stock market and the S&P 500. So some positions much smaller than others, but some of that is related to the price as well as when I got started building into them. So my smallest positions are um, Microsoft and Meta. But like I said, yes, somewhat related to the stock price, which we will get back to. I've sold most of my individual stocks, shares of Tesla, and relying on Tesla in my ETFs. Okay, okay. You couldn't take the volatility anymore. I hope you sold when it was really up there. Like I was saying, I was up over 100% on my Tesla positions not long ago, but I did not sell any. I didn't take any profit at that time. I'm not one to sell and I think I've gotten to the place where what I've added into my portfolio, it allows me to not have to rebalance very often. I'm actually up slightly finally when it comes to my Disney investment. So that's something that I might be cutting because I want to be uh, something not in the Mag 7, but something that I wish I had chosen instead of some of these smaller positions that I built that kind of have not gone anywhere and I've kind of just let sit and didn't continue building into. One of them that I would have rather have chosen would have been Netflix. So, Trenton, thank you for tuning in and chatting. I will get back to your question. Um, but let me continue with my topic for a little bit. Hold tight. I'm going to come back to your question because I see the ticker symbol that you are referencing there. So, those regulations and the things that are going on related to Tesla, we will see how that turns out. Now, this upcoming week, on weeks like this, I don't do it every single week because sometimes there's really not much that is of interest, I don't think, to anyone. But on weeks like this, I definitely make sure to post the earnings calendar to my community wall so that you guys can take a look, leave me a comment, let me know which ones you're watching, which it's something that I watch, but I'm not necessarily always watching it in order to take options trades or anything like that, because mostly I do trade SPY as opposed to individual companies. But I'm an investor. I'm a very hands-on investor nowadays, and so I'm interested in knowing what is going on with these big companies, especially all of the ones that I have in my portfolio. But, you know, it doesn't mean that poor earnings is gonna impact me on the way that I feel. It's gonna make me sell my positions because I'm still building and growing and holding. So, this upcoming week, we're having 4 of the Mag 7 companies. We're gonna have Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta all this week. And, like I was sharing a little, while ago that Tesla is currently the 9th largest company in the US. And, um, NVIDIA, number 1. And what do we have? We have Microsoft is number 2, Apple is 3, Amazon is 4, and then Meta is 6. And Google is number 5, which Google we just had last week. So these are the top companies that really drive the market. And it's interesting that so many of them fall so close together. We have 6 of the Mag 7 within a 2-week time span. So Apple, a long-term hold for me. I think something I was too heavily weighted in my portfolio. I was watching Nora's live earlier, and she was like, "Lisa really likes, Apple stock." But yes, at one time, one of my portfolios was over 50% Apple. I have worked over time to get that, shifted and more balanced, but when I started investing outside of my 401k on my own, that happens over time, but, I've gotten out of that, and I actually took a long break from investing into Apple when my average was about $120, and I wish I hadn't have done that. Wish I had kept it in the rotation of giving Apple a little bit of love, but I was focusing on Amazon and some other positions, but now it's more of a smaller position, than it had been in the past. So investors are looking for those iPhone 16 sales, to see what company updates they're gonna make, regarding, uh, their AR and VR and different streams of revenue. They've been spending a lot when it comes to, AI, and they've drastically decreased the amount of cash that they have on hand, and we just wanna see what they're going to be, putting that focus into in order to make those changes that keeps the company relevant and growing. So, and there's also still that tariff risk when it comes to companies that are international and need different things from outside of the US. So we will see what happens with that. But yeah, as I said, I have a little bit of all of the Mag 7 in my portfolio directly, by investing into shares. Now, next up, we're going to have, I don't have the dates written down, but like I said, I have the calendar posted on my community wall if you're interested in the dates. I'm not going to stop to take a look at that. But Microsoft, AI and cloud, are still the main drivers for that. And right now, Microsoft is a smaller position. I just got to 3 shares in my portfolio very recently, and it's my current $10 a day challenge pick. So I'm definitely going to be continuing with that. I have a couple more weeks left of my challenge, and so I'm building up that position. And I had done a stretch prior a while back. When I did a $10 challenge, $10 daily into Microsoft, but I didn't keep it up in between. But now I've had 8 weeks now that I've been trying to get back on track with building up that position because it was one of my smaller ones along with Meta. So another earnings coming up this week, we have Amazon, and that tariff drama that we went through in April, it had all of these companies pulling back, but the stock has rebounded, and we'll see what happens with these numbers if it continues to push this stock even higher. SoFi, yes, they have earnings this week also. SoFi has been done. I'm pretty sure I saw SoFi. I had it lower on the list. I was only focusing on these Mag 7 companies on for my live today. And then we have Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. That's what it's known for. But they have a lot related to a lot of their focus is advertising driven, and they're continuing to try to push out another platform that they have, which is Threads and the Reels and different things that we're all most likely using, whether we're on it or we're just doing it just to find like our local restaurants and things like that. We're often using these different things on a regular basis. If not, our kids are, grandkids, whatever, whoever is around us. Most, I don't have the stats with me. I know I had put them in a video, but I have so many things that I look up. But the amount of people that are on these platforms is just astounding. And Meta, when it comes to Meta, that's one of the smaller positions I said I have. I only have about a little over 2 shares of Meta, but you got to realize it's going to be harder for me to build up certain positions because Meta is $713 per share. So basically, I could get 4 shares of NVIDIA for one of Meta. So, even if I do a stretch where I'm putting a certain amount daily, obviously it's going to take longer. But that doesn't bother me. Maybe years ago, that's something that used to kind of be a little bit of an obstacle or something that I would think about. But now I'm totally focused on my percentage growth. Uh, it doesn't matter how many shares I have. Depending on the price of the investment, I may not even have a full share, but uh, if I want exposure to it, if I want to have it in my portfolio, I'm going to be focused on the percentage growth and how much that I can gain in that way. Because my budget is my budget, and how much it grows or how many shares I have, it is going to be what it is. Now, so these 4 companies, as I was running down, these are the top companies in the US as far as market cap, several of them over $1 trillion. And this is why they are that huge portion of the S&P. Their results are really going to heavily impact the index, and any disappointments that may come up will trigger volatility in the stock market. Now, earnings season, huge earnings season for long-term investors. Uh, we'll probably, like I said, I do a mix of things. I invest into these stocks individually, but I also focus on my VTI, VOO, FXAIX, and these are going to be those highest percentage that I have exposure to when I invest into those type of funds. Tech is going to, it seems for the time being, remain to be the top driver when it comes to growth. But you have to incorporate the other things if you want to have more diversification than just those sectors and being so heavily weighted into tech. You don't have to just rely on those big names. You can find some other funds that are less tech heavy if you want to have that balance. Make sure to do that. But whatever you do, stick to your plan. Don't get stressed out by short-term volatility and things that are going on in the market. And I would encourage you not to take breaks. It's easy when it comes to your 401k because it was easy for me because I never paused it. If anything, I never decreased my percentage. If anything, all I would do is from time to time increase my percentage that I was contributing. But it came out of my check, and I was never in a place where I ever put it on hold. I would say the last time that I considered um, uh, like stopping my contributions to it or decreasing them was a long time ago when I was on bed rest with my youngest daughter. And even at that time, my family told me, no, just leave things the way it is and we'll see how it goes. But I knew I was going to be home for several months and I was going to only get I don't know exactly what it was. I don't know. It was like 70% of my pay while I was on short-term disability, something like that. And even with all of that, I still stuck to my original plan and stayed consistent, with contributing. But when it comes to outside of that 401k that's coming out of your check and getting, invested automatically, if you have your own personal plan, I encourage you to stick with it and just, stay consistent with your original plan when it comes to dollar cost averaging because you can really benefit from the volatility. It's just a matter of putting the work in to have those investments that you're ready to hold long term. Now, uh, earnings season, yep, it's shaping up. Talked about the antitrust lawsuit. But let me go through the chat now and take a look at the comments. Fast Eddie, AMD has done well in the last few months. Yes, AMD, that's one that I did not add to my portfolio. I have, I've been focusing on uh, TSM and NVIDIA. And let me take a station break before I go to the questions because I see my little Nightbot is working today. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, if this is something that you are interested in, if you want to support the channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and make sure to be on the lookout. I post shorts, regular content, regular short form content, as well as live streams on Sundays, usually 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check out my referral links. I have referral links for Weeble, Mumu. I am a crown trader or coach in Keenan Grace's Discord. So that is also an affiliate link that I share. And I have channel membership here on YouTube also. So check that out if you want to support the channel or have additional exposure to what I'm sharing here. Do you know sell puts and earn interests on the secured cash? Game changer for me. Not quite sure what you're sharing about that, Ryan. And I don't trade out of my accounts at Fidelity, which would be my larger accounts. Uh, that if you're talking about selling, I don't have many positions in my taxable account. I don't have really any positions in my taxable accounts that I'm over 100 shares. So usually my trades, my option trades have just been just regular options trades. I have done a little bit of vertical, just a couple, but that's something that I am just getting started with learning a bit more about. SoFi, go SoFi. Okay, okay. Let me take a look at the my posts here. Uh, on here, yes. So outside of the Mag 7 stocks, some other names that I highlighted were United Healthcare, PayPal, SoFi, Robinhood, MicroStrategy, just to name a few. Now let me go back up to um, Nija. Thank you again, Ms. Frugal, for gifting that membership. I appreciate that. Now I saw someone had put in the chat. Let me try to find it. Okay, so Trenton, is SPMO a new position in your portfolio? I just heard of it when Keenan mentioned it in one of his latest videos, in his latest video. I have not invested into SPMO. Um, and I was not aware of it, but it is interesting to me. And I did create a post about it, I think yesterday. after I watched the video because I wanted to just give a little bit more detail on it. And one thing, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I think it was 0.13. Yes. So the expense ratio on it is 0.13%, which I think I was expecting when I looked it up for it to be higher than that. I was pleasantly surprised. When people usually joke about me that I'm a stickler about that expense ratio, but I for the growth that this particular ETF, what he shared in the video and what I looked up on my own, I was expecting it to be slightly higher. So it's something that I may add to my portfolio. So over the last year, um, it's up 36.03%, and over the last 5 years, it's up 151%. So it's a newer fund. It's been around since 2015. It rebalances twice per year, and it focuses on momentum stocks within the S&P 500. So something different, definitely something different. That's the ticker symbol SPMO. And I know it's hard when I'm on vertical to share screen, but if you want to take a closer look at that, I just shared a few details. It's something that you may want to consider. Um, but no, I have not added it to my portfolio yet. I'm thinking, right now I need to adjust my plan because I may get my VOO to a certain point or my VTI to a certain point and stop and shift over to something else. I've been building into my VTI since what, 20, since I don't know, for like about 2 years now, straight daily. So um, that could be a potential shift because I think for the growth that I've seen related to it, um, that expense ratio would work for the to get that potential increase. And did I put down the dividend yields on that also? Let me see if I can give you that too. Dividend yield on it is 0.79%, but usually those type of funds, it's usually just a little bit over 1%. So a little low there, but that's fine. That's fine. I definitely could deal with that considering the potential growth as compared to the S&P 500 directly, this momentum stocks. So I think it has about 100 stocks in it. But it's going to be, looking at the top holdings, it's a lot of the same names that we're mentioning, those Mag 7 names. We have NVIDIA, Amazon, Meta, um, only those three. But then some other top holdings there are Broadcom, JP Morgan Chase, uh, just to name a few. I don't have the whole 10 listed here. But yes, definitely caught my attention. But no, I have not as of yet invested into it. Well, let me go down to the bottom because I had gone back up to that comment. Okay, so Trenton, I started the position with them along with Netflix. Okay. I like Costco although the stock price is enormous. We don't let that bother you. Don't let that bother you, Trenton. Were you on when I was just talking about I was talking about Meta, $713. I think Costco's over $1,000, right? I don't know. I don't have Costco in my portfolio, but Costco's $935. So don't let that hold you back. Don't wait for a stock split. There's no reason for that. If and when that stock split comes around, whatever you built into it, it will split and you will have already been gaining the exposure to it that you wanted. So I'm glad that I didn't hold off and, wait for a stock split or wait for let anything hold me back from getting Amazon, Google, Bitcoin, getting investments that were out of my budget into my portfolio because as far as those individuals, stocks, as far as the stocks outside of Bitcoin, the stocks prices, those have all split. Even Tesla was $1,200 when I first started investing into it. Those have all split, but yeah, there's no reason to let that hold you back, or turn you off to it because, focus on that percentage, the percentage growth, not having a full share or having 20 shares. It's okay if you only have 1 and it took you however long to build into it. I remember I had a professor. I didn't graduate college until I was, like, nearly 30 years old, but, once you have that degree, you have it. You earned it. It doesn't matter what age you were when you obtained it. Um, so it kind of makes me think about that. It's that you achieve the goal, um, and not let that hold you back. Hey, DT Hope. Trenton, it's expensive, but just keep DCing and it will build up in no time. Yes. And I get people giving me, comments, all the time. I think I'm glad that I stuck with, one of my challenges for so long, just to be able to show people, even though they haven't done it themselves yet, but just to be able to say after, 100 weeks, after 200 weeks, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. I'm just going to keep on sharing, uh, my consistency and what it builds. Like right now, I'm over 30 shares of VTI, but in that particular portfolio, never more than $10 investment to get to that over 30 shares now. So I've done it for you. I hope that me doing it and sharing with you shows you that if you stick with it, it can be accomplished. Now, I can't say that my percentage growth is going to be yours. We all have a different starting point, but if you really do stick with something, it will build, just like what, Rod is saying here. I've been dollar cost averaging into Costco. Oh, you were giving me the price, and yes, I was all the way up at $1,000. Thank you. Um, let's see, what's been the highest? The year range, yeah, the year range on Costco, it has hit as high as $1,078. Yeah, but, you know, don't wait for any stock splits. We can get started with our investing once you've done your research, made your decision on what you wanna have exposure to in your portfolio. Okay, I have Costco, not a full share by any means, but I believe in them. I DCA. Okay, Nija, thank you for sharing. I do not have Costco or Walmart in my portfolio, but I can't invest into everything because it's too much for me. It's a little overwhelming. I have to just rely on my ETFs for, you know, to keep my portfolio a little bit more streamlined. So let's see. Uh, love the positivity. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. I don't think I've ever seen you here before. Let's take a look. Netflix. Yes, Netflix is another one that I was mentioning earlier that I wouldn't mind having exposure to. Can I say the name of the fund again? Dr. Caroline, when did you post this? At 3:32. If you're still here, we were talking about, um, SPMO. Let me just repeat what it is. So SPMO, and it is the Invesco S&P 500 Momentum ETF. So check that out. Hit the like. Fast Eddie, are you asking what REITs do I own? The only REIT in my portfolio right now is, Realty Income. I've been more focused on my growth stocks than uh, my dividend portfolio, but I need to set a day, at least 1 day per week. What I was doing, as I was building my dividend portfolio, my schedule was at least 1 share per week, but I need to make sure to keep that consistency going over there. What I've mostly been building into most recently, has been Main Street Capital, and, I did an investment. I did several shares of, SCHD. That was back in April when it was, like, about 23, $24. But Main Street Capital, with the interest rates being high, has not disappointed, and uh, I have been adding to that. I'm not adding any more to my, Realty Income, just holding. Alright, so I'm taking a look at the comments. Same here. I don't even know what I was saying when you said that, Rod, because I was so scrolling up all over the place. Um, okay, so Dr. Caroline says she got the ticker symbol. Scott says you're familiar with my YouTube channel. Okay, let's take a look. What else do we have here? Trenton is sharing that he's almost 62 years old and just started his investing journey. Okay, okay. When do you plan on retiring, Trenton? So, unlike Trenton, I started my it wasn't anything substantial, but I started my investing journey when I was 19, about 19, 20 years old. I was definitely working full time when I was 19, and so I was offered or told about the company, 401(k) plan, and I joined it at that time. But you gotta realize whatever percentage I was contributing, which I've tried to find some old pay stubs, but I couldn't find it. But, whatever I was contributing was gonna be based whatever percentage was gonna be based on what my earnings were, and my earnings were nothing substantial. So but it got me started, and in time, later as I got later into my 20s, 30s, then I gained more knowledge, became more hands-on, interested, and started to make those increases after I did graduate from college and, uh, have some better opportunities within the company, and my salary started to increase. So, focusing on growth stocks. Same here. Oh, okay. Okay. That's what you were responding to. All right. Red Star, I see you have a question about BlackRock. I do not have an answer on that one. I have nothing to share on that off the top of my head. Uh, let me see. All right, so guys, let me know if you have any other questions, comments. I'm glad that I was able to pop on and connect, and I hope you guys found this topic to be interesting. And, even though I talk about these things, always remember I'm a long-term investor. I'm paying attention to these things, maybe to see if there is any volatility, if I can potentially buy the dip, if it's a company that I'm already building into that I see the potential long term. But, you know, I'm not going to let any short-term volatility related to tariffs, earnings, or anything else uh, influence my plan. Those are not the things that form that I incorporate in making my decisions on what to add to my portfolio. So, oh, there was something that I had written down here to share, and just gifted. Thank you for that $2 super chat and being another sponsor of today's live stream. I appreciate that support. So, Jesus, is SPMO similar to VOO? No, it seems I only started to look at this yesterday for the first time ever. I made a post about it, and someone inboxed me, and I was chatting about it with them last night. So, let me pull it up on the, CFRC. So it's different than okay, so VOO and SPLG, they are the S&P 500. You're getting exposure to 500, the 500 uh, top companies weighted by market cap in the US. SPMO, the what it's called is SPMO is the ticker symbol for Invesco's S&P 500 Momentum ETF. And even though it has the words S&P 500 in it, I'm pulling it up right here. Something that you can use to take a look at the detail, something I usually jump on to get a quick look on the detail, a free resource, I don't have a paid version subscription to this, but it's ETFRC.com, which stands for ETF Research Center. So I'm looking at this and the Constitution breakdown, it's 95 stocks. So even though you're hearing S&P 500, this is focused on the top. This is narrowing it down to 95 stocks based on the momentum of these particular the 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 companies that have the highest level of momentum. So right now, the fund gives you exposure to 95 different stocks, and I mentioned the top 5 companies already. Uh, the other companies from, uh, 6 down to 10, you're getting the highest exposure to Tesla, Walmart, Netflix, Palantir, and Costco. So it is similar in being rather tech heavy, um, which is going to be because those are the stocks that are gonna have that higher momentum, but, a little bit higher on the expense ratio, definitely higher when it comes to the performance. So take a closer look at that, but yes, it is different, it is different, and I shared earlier the expense ratio is 0.13%, while VOO is 0.03, SPLG is 0.02. So higher expense ratio, higher growth potential from what we've seen over it's only been around what I gave the year, I told the year. Was it 2015? I think it's only been around since about 2015. So yes, definitely differences. It's something different, focusing on those momentum stocks. So the growth is historically, from what I've seen, looking at a 5-year time span, the inception, the fund inception date is October 9th, 2015. So a newer fund, but because of what it's focused on, higher growth than direct into the S&P 500. Let me go back down to the bottom. How am I hedging economic? Listen, I don't, I am just a long-term investor. make sure to have my emergency fund built, have my money put aside in order to invest more heavily when I see the opportunity. But in today's economy, I like to have that strong balance of making sure that I have enough funds on hand to make sure that I don't run myself into debt and I'm ready for rising costs. So, as far as the market decline, I'm just holding tight and still building for retirement, but just keeping myself focused on those long-term goals and I'm not ready to tap in yet, so just creating that balance of making sure that I have my savings and investing in place. And when the market declines, I put the work in so that when the market declines, I'm ready to hold tight until it recovers. And yeah, I hope that okay, the one. Does it pay a dividend? Yes, Fast Eddie, I did touch on that. I said the dividend yield. Dividend yield is less than 1, which is also lower than a VOO and a SPLG, but, uh, maybe I'll pull that up really quickly before oh, I didn't even realize I've been on for 52 minutes. But we can take a look at that before I do wrap up. I will pull up I don't like to I know it's a little hard to share screens, so let me duplicate this. So we are talking about let's put this to VOO. Oh, I don't even have it that I didn't even set up my screen sharing today. I guess I didn't think I was gonna even potentially share a screen. All right, so what is this? So what do we have here? We have VOO. So VOO 1 year over 1 year is up 16.95%, whereas SPMO is up 36.11%, in over the last 1 year, so 5 years. Okay, so SPMO over the last 5 years, up 144.64%, and let's go back to VOO, 5 years, up 95.13%. Okay, just a quick look there. Dividend yield is 0.79%. So something different to take a look at. I don't know if you were here earlier. I was sharing gives exposure to 95 stocks, focusing on the momentum stocks in that top in the S&P 500. So, all right, I don't see any more questions coming in. So the only thing I think in my notes that I didn't share was uh, just a little bit more on the volatility. And I know the larger your portfolio, I know the pain that we have to go through when it happens. Right now, everything is good, but you have to be ready for the ups and downs in the portfolio. And something I shared recently was one of my, my most viewed video ever on YouTube is my FXAIX video that I did sharing my year-end results that I put out back in January. So at that time, my FXAIX position was $150,000. I did another update in February, it was 153. And then in April, when we were going through all of that tariff drama, Liberation Day, I was down to 135,000 when I shared my video. You can go back and see this. I show the numbers in this. So, yes, did I let that bother me? No. Did I ever feel like, "Oh, I want to shift to something different?" I did not. And my latest update is at 163. So 150 in January, 163 now, but I had to see my portfolio down by $15,000 in April. But that's what's going to happen as your portfolio gets larger. Those swings are going to be larger, but unless you're about to retire, you have to be ready for that. And as you get closer to retirement, you then have to change your allocation, make it more conservative, maybe get more into bonds and different things like that. But where I'm at right now, I'm in that growth phase. I want heavy exposure to stocks, and I'm focused on steady growth. So, um, you know, as I'm sitting here, I might write this down. I might add some of this SPMO in that same portfolio where I have this FXAIX in the retirement portfolio, because I do have a little bit of cash there available over at Fidelity. That might be a long-term hold for me. All right, so thank you, Rod, and congrats on your gifted membership. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure to give this live a thumbs up, hit that notification bell. Check back on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and check out my referral links as I mentioned. And let me know if you have any questions for that I can cover in future live streams or in my videos. And if you are in the Discord, make sure, feel free to at me with any questions, and I will get back to you. And thank you, Nija, for tuning in and chatting. Now I'm going to get ready to wrap it up for the day. My daughter already asked me, can we go driving? So we might go for a drive. I might see, I cooked, but nothing that she's going to want to eat. So I might go and see if she wants to get some Chipotle and get some driving practice in. If you didn't know, my daughter does not have her license yet, but she is practicing, and I have to continue working with her on that regularly. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
And to investments, she make a lot on YouTube. Lisa J Stocks. Lisa J Stocks, that's the channel. Hey. If you wanna make some money, visit Lisa J Stocks. Yeah. You will make a lot. If you wanna make some money, visit Lisa J Stocks. Okay. She'll make it pop. If you wanna make some money, visit Lisa J Stocks. Yeah. You will make a lot. If you wanna make some money, visit Lisa J Stocks.